I swear I saw this article. Cut this out too.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But you're worth like $500,000.
Came in with nothing, right? No money, no nothing, basically no opportunities, what I'm trying to say. Other than just my tools, my barbering tools, that's literally all I brought with me.
Yeah.
And the skill that I already had.
Right.
My dad actually asked me that same question. Why do you want to go to college? Because like I said, coming into my senior year, I already had a pretty good amount of money. I didn't really need to go to college. I had a business going, multiple businesses, I won't lie.
I feel like God gave me the vision for like a podcast at that time too. And I heard the word podcast. I was just hearing podcasts from so many different people that day. Where I was like, I gotta start this. So that week, I felt like 2 episodes.
I was just pondering this idea. So how do I become the investor? And so, what if you dressed up as a chick? Because when you dress up as a chick, you get closer to the chicks that are around you.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Lifestyle Diaries, joined by your host, Entreprenuership. And today we have a very special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself, maybe your name, where you're from?
For sure. Well, hello guys. My name is Yosmar Lopez. I am a freshman here at MSU, Michigan State University. I am studying supply chain management, although I won't lie, I'm kind of iffy on that.
Yeah.
I'm debating a little bit on changing it, but we can touch on that later if you want.
Yeah, so business, you would say, for sure.
Yeah, definitely around the business area. That's something that, I genuinely want to focus on. Yeah.
Cool. I guess, what brings you here today?
Okay.
In the sense, we met, I guess, really briefly this semester.
It was very random.
It
was very random because I think that was the first time I met you, right? When we went to Snyder.
You knew my roommate before, though, right?
I did. So
that episode is actually dropping tomorrow at 7 a.m., guys. So check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, you guys will be seeing this in the future. Go check out the episode because it already dropped. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, I met your roommate through, I think it was an event hosted by an African club here at MSU, but I'm not too sure.
African Student Union, maybe?
I think so. The thing was, we went to the hub and it was a pool party, and that's where I met him. Yeah. Because I won't lie, me and him were the only Mexicans there. So
he's Puerto
Rican, sorry.
Like Spanish.
Yeah, exactly. So we got along quite well, but we were like the only two that were different from the crowd. So yeah, that's how I met him, and then the way I met you was through Snyder, right?
That was the first time. It was me on lunch full.
Exactly.
And on my side of that too, it's like you did not know this, but I feel like God gave me the vision for a podcast at that time too.
Nice.
And I heard the word podcast. I was just hearing podcasts from so many different people that day. Where I was like, I gotta start this. So that week, I felt like 2 episodes, like the intro and then a little bit more about me, which are both up right now.
Nice. I have to watch them. I won't lie, I haven't watched them.
You should. Arrow.access on YouTube.
There you go.
It's part of a fitness business as well, but Lifestyle Diaries is the name of the podcast.
Nice. Lifestyle Diaries. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of lifestyle, can you kind of give me a glimpse into the day of your life? What does your routine look like? This can go a bunch of different ways for you.
Of course. Yeah.
You're a student, right? Would you consider yourself an entrepreneur too?
I would, simply because it's actually something that I wanted to touch on, because you did mention lifestyle, and one of the biggest things within my life recently was barbering. I feel like coming into MSU, that was my biggest goal. It was to become the best barber.
Did you cut people's hair before?
No, I didn't know no one here.
Okay.
So I came in not knowing a single person here, but that was the goal. The goal was to expand as fast as possible and to do it the best way possible. So as efficient, and essentially I wanted to max out my potential within the barber industry here at MSU. Yeah. But
it's a good spot for it. I mean, there's a bunch of students. Everyone needs a haircut. My boy Douglas actually just cut me up the other day.
Oh yeah. It does look fresh. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about here on the podcast, because Lifetime Diaries, right?
It's Lifestyle Diaries.
Lifestyle Diaries, sorry. But the idea is to kind of show the shifts within my life, right? At least that's what I got from it.
Yeah.
So coming into MSU, my life was very hectic in the sense that I had school going on. I had businesses from Chicago, which is where I'm from. I come from Chicago. That center is called a small place called Little Village. It's mainly Mexican dominated. But coming up from that neighborhood, I decided to do quite a few businesses there.
Yeah.
And so from there, I ended up moving to Michigan in order to pursue college.
Okay.
And so while
this
doing
was
that,
last year.
Yes, exactly. So last year, so graduating from senior year, I decided to come here to Michigan State.
Yeah.
And so I had to leave my businesses. It's kind of sad, not that I won't lie. But yeah, the idea was to continue running them even though I was here. So automate them in a way where I can still work them regardless of where I'm at. And so that's been going a little rough, I won't lie. But at the end of the day, it's still working.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I was running those, and then I wanted to start the barbering business. And like I said, it's really hard when you don't know no one, because the main thing here is you're trying to find the first person to actually trust you. And then once you go from there, I feel like
that's a reputation. People to start coming.
Exactly.
Word of mouth. Yeah.
Exactly. Word of mouth was one of the biggest things that helped me a lot. Word of mouth and the MSU story. I didn't know, like, coming in here, I didn't have Snapchat, I didn't have Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, those accounts were old, but just because I made them way back, but I never used them. Like, if you see my Snapchat score, it's kind of embarrassing. I think I only have like 200. Like,
no, that's okay, bro. That's okay.
But like growing up, I never used it. I never found a necessity for it.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't use it. But coming into here, I found it more of a necessity.
Specifically for Snapchat or just social media?
Social media in general. I never used social media in general. The way I grew up was I actually didn't have my first phone until freshman year of high school. Yeah. Wow. So it was up until then when I started actually diving into what technology meant. Yeah. But I wasn't really big on it. If anything, I just use phone numbers, right? Like, that was my biggest thing. It's like,
what's your number?
Exactly. Even so, like, even with just your regular person, I'll be like, hey, if anything, let me get your phone number. And so I never used social media, none of that. And everything was through calls, so you didn't really have messages or things like that, right? Because I was just, like, if I wanted to get in contact with you, I'll just give you a call.
Just call me.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. But like I said, everything kind of changed as soon as I got here. I got introduced more into technology, and so everything was new to me. So you had that going on. You had the barbering going on. You had school going on. You had the businesses from Chicago going on. Like, everything was coming together.
Were you like?
But it was...
That's doing a lot.
It was. So it wasn't too good, I won't lie. So when I was starting the barbering business, the idea was to grow as fast as possible, right?
Yeah.
And coming in, not knowing no one, I felt like it started wasn't exactly. It was a fun challenge. I saw it as a challenge. I didn't see it as
an opportunity rather than like a hurdle, like not
like an obstacle.
An obstacle, yeah.
Exactly. So I love the idea of it, just simply being able to manifest it. I was like, you know what, I will do it. Yeah. And so I put my name out there, and even though no one knew me, I know that the name was gonna stick, Lopez the barber. And so that's when I made it. And so. The idea was, and for those that don't know, my Instagram page was, I don't know if I could plug it.
No, go ahead.
It's Real Lopez Project.
Real Lopez Project.
But it has nothing to do with the barbering business. But that simply is because I related more to my mindset of this being a project.
What is the project like yourself, or is it like a project?
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. So the end goal for me personally is to be the best version of myself in whatever endeavor I put myself into. So one of the biggest things for me was, if I'm going to be a barber, I'm going to be the best barber. If I'm going to be a student, I'm going to be the best student. But the thing is, one of the biggest things that I learned this semester was that I put too much on my plate. Whereas everything takes time, takes effort, and, it takes energy. And
you can't do everything all at once. That's something that definitely I had to learn like freshman, sophomore year. Right. I was trying to do like 10 different things at once. Even now, I still do a lot of things, but trying to simplify.
Exactly. So that's what I'm looking to do next semester. But I won't lie, how you mentioned, I identify myself more of an entrepreneur more than anything. Yeah. And because of that,
what's your definition for being an entrepreneur? Like, what does that mean to you?
So entrepreneur really, for me, is not too hard. For me, if anything, it's just. Oh no, that's a good question.
Because like there's a lot of different definitions, and for those that don't know, I'm actually president of the Entrepreneurship Club here, and we kind of, our first meeting actually, we threw around like to people like, what does it mean for you to be an entrepreneur? And I think everyone can kind of craft their own idea of it, but a pretty commonly known one is to like take advantage of opportunities and take risks to take advantage of those opportunities. Okay. Often that risk is financial, emotional, like opportunity cost, like you're sacrificing something a lot of the time, creating things, building things. So
right.
What was that like for you?
For me, growing up, well, I guess what I was told entrepreneurship was kind of being your own boss, in the sense that you control your actions, in the sense of like when you work, how much you get paid, and stuff like that.
Like that's like comes with like a level of like freedom too, right?
Exactly.
No.
And so the one thing that my dad kind of instilled on me, and I feel like he did a really good job, was he put a dream inside my head when I was
Planted
really
a seed.
Planted a seed, and that seed was, what if you could go throughout life, your entire life, without ever having a job? And I love that idea, because to me, I was a little child and I wanted to be different. I feel like as a child, you kind of have the aspiration to be different, right? You don't want to be like everybody else. For example, and I remember this vividly when we were asked, and this was like probably kindergarten or first grade, but we were asked, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Exactly. Like the most common question. And I don't really remember what I said. The only thing I do remember is thinking, I don't want to be like that. So I purposely...
You know what you didn't want? I actually felt similar. Like, I kind of knew some things like I did not want to do that. Like, I didn't want to... Like, you can kind of see that with how other people, like, act. And, like, if you ask someone, like, how are you? And they say, like, if they don't give, like, a good answer, in the sense of, like, yeah, I'm doing great. Like, you can see that in someone, too, not just how they respond. But if someone is genuinely not happy, it's like, why would you want to follow that same footsteps?
And so for me, it was not necessarily like a thing that I observed. It's like, okay, people who have jobs, like they're miserable. That's not something that I concluded. But if anything, that's something that I aspired to be different from everyone else. So my idea was, how do I differentiate myself? And one of the things that my dad told me was, everybody has a job. Everybody has a job. And so I wanted to be different in the sense that I don't want to work a job. And that's part of the reason why I'm actually not going to cut hair no more, because it is a job. Like, as much as I control my hours, my freedom, it's still a job. You know what I mean? Like, I'm limited by the fact that it's a job.
I guess, so if you're not cutting hair, I'm curious, were you like, how was that going? Were you making like good money? Can you share that? Like, like you said, it's a job. But was it worth it? It was a good experience, right? Maybe
it was a good experience. So like I said, my biggest thing is trying to be the best version of myself, which really means to not focus on the materialistic aspect of things. In the sense that if I'm gonna be the best barber, what does that mean to me, right? For me especially, that meant efficiency in my own craft. That means
like how good you were
in a way, but essentially, like, how do you perfect the fade? How do you make it faster? How do you provide a better service? How can you improve the conversation that you have with your client so that he leaves with the impression that if maybe another barber could do the same quality haircut that I can, I at least want to go with me, simply because of conversation, the environment, the vibe, whatever you want to call it.
That goes back into the Lopez project, right? Like, you, the project.
I am
like
the project.
You're the niche, the intangible.
Exactly. And I feel like that still remains the biggest thing. That still remains my best goal. How do I become the best version of myself? And so when I look at that, as you know, every morning I have a little audio that I play. It's like me with my little gym. I won't lie, it's a little personal. Okay. No, but the thing that I tell myself is a common question towards the end of the audio is, how do you become the best version of yourself? So what are you gonna do today to become the best version of yourself? What are you gonna do throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year? And so, like I said, being a barber was part of that, because that's something that I grew up doing, in the sense that I started my freshman year of high school cutting hair. And so I did it freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, and now freshman year of college. And not to give it all up, it's kind of hard, but I have a new mindset now. And
so, like I said, it's a needed change maybe for you.
Exactly. It's a needed change, in the sense that if my goal is to not work a job, then I can't be a barber.
Let's talk about like the lifestyle view on that.
Right.
Like, so if you don't want to work a job, right, how do you want to structure your life?
Okay, so if anything, the one thing that I did realize is a job kind of limits you in the sense of...
A job is structured. Like, if you think about a 9 to 5, it's like, okay, you wake up. Well, whatever time. Like, you clock, when you clock in, you clock out.
Exactly.
And then the rest of the time you do whatever, right?
Exactly. So it was the same thing. So just backtracking a little bit when it came to barbering, the way I was working it was I would wake up and I had two 8:30 a.m. classes. Exactly. Okay. There were on Monday and then the other one was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I might have that flip. It's Tuesday and Thursday. My bad.
Yeah.
But it was Tuesday and Thursday. And so I genuinely didn't like that class, but I would go.
Okay.
And then as soon as...
What class was it?
It was ISP 205, Vision to the Universe. Don't recommend it.
Okay.
It's a lot of reading, but at the end of the day, I ended up going to that class. And then the thing that I did right after that class was Cohere. And then my next class wasn't until, I think, 3 p.m. So then So up until 3 p.m. and then I would take that class and then I'd go right back to cutting hair.
Yeah.
So I left me no room to study. I didn't leave room for homework. I didn't leave room for fitness, for eating. I didn't even eat at all. So that was one of my biggest things. I would forget to eat because I had this dream.
Yeah,
keep
going.
Yeah, I had this dream of becoming the best version of myself, and that kind of...
At what cost too?
Exactly.
What are you sacrificing to do that?
And so if anything, it was misprioritization in the sense that I thought that barbering went above school. And for me, part of it is barbering doesn't identify me. So if anything, I shouldn't put that above anything else. So as of now, I want to keep school at the top. And so that's why that's shifting a little bit. That's why barbering can't be there no more. And so now coming into how
school meaning like education, or like, what do you mean by like getting good grades?
Right.
What do you mean by that?
Exactly. Yeah. So like I said, if I'm gonna do something, I want to go with the mentality of I'm gonna be the best at it. Yeah. Exactly. So that means I want a 4.0. I want to be able to pass all my classes and exceed in them. Yeah. I want to be able to teach the subject. You know what I mean? I want the...
What about the whole entrepreneur mentality of like drop out of school? What about that?
I don't... So when I'm...
Or don't get good grades, focus on your business.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's actually a dilemma for me because I read that a lot. I read that a lot. Yeah. And I read a lot of self-help books. And one of the things that I learned was that you have to put 100% of your energy into every project that you do, right? And that just really goes to show, the effort that is needed to build something from the ground up.
Okay.
But my biggest goal right now is to be able to give a diploma to my parents and say, I was able to do it. Because a little history on me, all my family never had a diploma. I think my dad, he dropped out before he could go to high school.
Oh, wow.
And then my mom, similar situation, but she didn't even make it to 8th grade.
Wow.
And so
right now you're in like uncharted territory right now.
Exactly. So I didn't...
Props to you, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. But like no one in my family really knew what it meant to go to college, let alone to go to a university here in the U.S.
Yeah,
exactly.
U.S. Yeah,
in the U.S. because most of my family's from Mexico.
Okay,
so all of them exactly. So a lot of them over there are still there, and so they don't really know what it means to come to a university, let alone a university from the U.S.
Yeah,
and so all of this is new to me, but I want to be able to go back to my parents and say, you know what, that's my vision at least.
Yeah.
Go back to my parents with a diploma, regardless of what happens, regardless of the ideas that I have. That's my biggest goal right now.
All right. Talk to me about the changes you're making to your lifestyle right now. So before you realized like barbering, that became a job for you.
Right.
And then balancing out with your classes, not being able to eat, exercise, things like that.
Exactly.
On Lifestyle Diaries here, we want to focus on, I guess, like, what does your lifestyle look like? Right. And how is like health and fitness, taking care of yourself, like a part of that? How are things like, do you work out? Do you go to the gym?
Yeah. So actually,
is that something you're looking to get into? Stuff like that?
So I have a really good friend whose name I'm not gonna mention. Yeah. But and one of the biggest things that he's helped me do is being able to challenge myself in the sense that I thought I had good habits, but he's kind of like one-upping me a little bit. Okay. And so one of the things that we agreed upon, right, exactly. One of the things that we agreed upon was we want to do a boxing match. And so we want to do a boxing match. So that's something that...
train for that.
Exactly. You want to train for that. You want to be the best in terms of, like I said, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. So going into this, I told them we have to put a bet on it. So the bet is essentially if I lose, I end up shaving my head.
Yo,
like just shave, and I can't cover it.
bald. Yeah,
Just
you can't cover
I can't
no hat.
cover it, like no hats,
Shoot.
no nothing. And I'm a big hat guy, like you guys can see right away. I love
Yeah.
my hats, especially this one. But I can't wear any of that. And then if his bet is if he
It's
loses,
different. He's not shaving his head.
no, he's not shaving because he used to rock it bald. So that's his
Okay.
thing. That's his
Yeah.
actual hairstyle. Like he rocks
used
it
to
bald.
Does he have to grow it out? It's the opposite.
No, not necessarily because he looked good. He looks good with both. He actually grew out his hair so I could cut it, which is really nice. But yeah, so the idea with him is he loves his facial hair,
Yeah,
so he has to shave all of it. He hasn't shaved it in so long,
that's crazy.
so he has to shave his facial hair,
So you
including
don't have to
eyebrows.
shave.
Including eyebrows.
No, that's crazy.
Exactly, right? But that goal kind of sets something up, which is motivation.
Yeah,
The end goal of saying I can't lose. And so that's kind of how I've been working out lately, with that motivation that says, you know what, come is gonna be the 28th of December, but we're not gonna live stream it. It's a little low.
that's kind of close. That's like what, 3.5 weeks?
Exactly, 3.5 weeks.
Have you already started training?
Yeah, so I've been sparring. I have a little bit of like I don't know what you call it, but it's a little
like-
right on this side.
Like battle scars. I don't know.
Exactly. So I'm testing right now how much I could take. But yeah, we did a couple sparring sessions.
Cool.
We have a little bit of training going on. I wake up right now. So a day in the life of me right now, I guess, is kind of what you're
Let's say, yeah, let's take it through like the morning to like pretty much when you go to sleep.
right. Okay. So all right, let's take today for example, which is a terrible example because
It is Sunday.
Yeah.
The weekends might be.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
the week is pretty bad.
So let's just say student entrepreneur.
right.
What's the day in life look like on a Monday?
Okay, so
Start
tomorrow.
the week. Start the
tomorrow. Okay, so if anything, what I have planned for tomorrow is basically well, today I'm gonna go to sleep at around 10. Wake up 5 a.m. tomorrow.
If it gets out of this podcast.
Of course, yeah. So if I get to sleep at 10, I'll sleep at 10. But as soon as I get home, I just knock out. And the idea behind that is to be able to start early the next day. And so I start as early as possible, which is around 5 a.m.
Okay.
And then upon waking up, I like to take a jog. So one of the things that I'm working on is endurance, because in a boxing match, that's one of the things that you have.
Yeah.
So
How far do you usually go?
5 miles.
Wow.
5 miles.
Have you been doing that?
I've been doing that day.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so today I won't lie, I kind of slacked a little bit. I did 3.
Okay.
But I'll finish it later.
Still
today.
consistency, still showing up, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the whole mentality. Being able to say, you know what, maybe I didn't finish the 5, and the only reason for that is because it started raining on me, and I got a little scared.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming back because health is first, you know.
Facts.
And so I came back, I've recovered a little bit, and then so today, later tonight, I have planned finishing at least 2 miles. And so after that, I work out 2 times a day, but that was the first one. A 5-mile jog early in the morning, get your head straight, and then I come back. Usually it takes me around an hour or so for 5 miles. So then I come back, I take a shower, and then I get straight to the computer.
Yeah.
So straight to the computer. So I have various projects that I'm working on, including some businesses over there in Chicago. So
Can you talk about those or?
yes, of course. So it's actually a business that I've been going for quite a while now. So I actually started freshman year 2, but a little bit before that. So around 8th, like graduating right after 8th grade. So the summer between 8th grade and freshman year of high school. And so within that time period, I started a business called, well, actually, I'm changing the name, so I can't even say it.
Yeah, don't even drop it.
Exactly. But what it was a rental business of chairs and tables.
Okay.
That's how it started.
Like
So-
for events.
Exactly, for events. And so up until before I came to MSU, I had grown it to the point where I actually had quite a few chairs. I want to say around 250 chairs.
Okay.
I had around 100 and something tables. I forget the exact number, but around 100.
Did you keep these in like a warehouse?
Yeah, so I actually still have them. And so,
In a warehouse.
well, not necessarily warehouse. It's more like my garage.
Okay.
But,
Well, I don't know.
yeah, no, of course. But I basically still have it all stocked up. I have quite a few things that I have. So if anything, if school fails by any means,
You can
we
always
just
go back.
We can always go back. But I had quite a few stock in place. And so just having that in mind, coming into here, that's something that I had to let go of because I couldn't manage it.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I gave it to my parents.
Okay.
So my parents are currently running it, And the thing that I was doing before I left was working with decorators, with vendors, with venues. I was working with all types of people. And so these events started getting a little bit bigger.
Okay.
And so, like I said, I couldn't manage them all. So I ended up partnering with other businesses. And that's why the name is changing a little bit. And so, yeah, that's the whole idea behind that. And then we have more decorations. We're providing new services. And so I'm trying to expand it while I'm here. And so...
Well, it's probably hard because you're not directly there.
Exactly.
I think we talked about that before too, right? Like
a little bit.
It's kind of online business. Like, it's always best to be in the location where you're trying to do things. Like, for example, if you're trying to somehow cut hair in Chicago now, like while you're at MSU, it's like, that doesn't work.
Exactly.
Like, you need to be in the spot if you want like the maximum growth.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's it all comes down to automation. Is how you're able to work without actually working it. Exactly. Yeah. And so that's what I'm trying to build, especially with a team like my family. I feel like I can rely on them. So being able to have them, it really means a lot, because let's say I have an order, I can just tell them, hey, I have this order for this day at this time, and I know that I can count on them to deliver. And so, and like I said, I'm working with other businesses, so it's being able to spread that trust with other companies as well. And so that's kind of what I'm working on right now. And so early in the morning, I get up, make as many, you know, either whether it be calls, emails, updating a website, which is currently in the making. But yeah, website coming soon. I'm working with a bunch of decorators, so being able to schedule everything, make sure that everything's right. And so that takes me up until, so we went from 5 to 6, and then usually the showering and all that takes around another hour. So we're around 7, and then I did it for about 2 hours. So we're at like 9 a.m. Now, I won't lie, by then, I don't have a 9 a.m. for Monday. Yeah, it's not a class, but it's studying. So I force myself to study, whatever it may be. So whatever I like.
Is that school studying or business studying, like reading books? I don't know.
Right. So that's school studying. Okay. Because like I said, one of my biggest goals right now is to be able to deliver a diploma, but not only that, be able to leave a mark here at MSU.
There you go.
Exactly. And so that's the idea behind it. So like I said, if I'm gonna be a student, I'll be the best student. So I have to work on that as well. That takes energy, patience, all of it. Yeah. So I have to dedicate time. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And so right after, like around 9 a.m., that's kind of when I start working on that. And so I won't lie, I usually go to Case. I go to Case Hall. Case Hall.
Exactly. That's a dining hall and like a living.
Yeah. So I go eat first. So my breakfast just contains of whatever they have, because I can control it. But one of the things that I was gonna bring up.
Do you like watch what you eat too? Like, does that play into your bring up?
Yeah, exactly. So coming into here, I think they have a little saying, the freshman 15.
Yeah.
Right? And so
gain 15 pounds. I've heard.
Exactly.
No, I know some people who have gained way more than that. Yeah. Like 30 pounds, which is crazy. Yeah, and I know some people who have just like lost 15.
That's
it's
actually
like radically
crazy.
Different for each person.
So my roommate, actually, shout out to Donovan, he gained, I think, 20 pounds, close to 25. So my boy, but he was bulking, so I felt like it was good, you know?
Okay. Was he, hopefully he's still working out.
Yeah, he's still working out. It's a little undisciplined, because, you know, finals is around the corner, so he's studying a lot more. Exactly. But if anything, he did gain. I like props to him, because he actually meant to. But at the end of the day, I wasn't checking what I was eating. And so I noticed that even though I was doing all this work, like it's reasonable for me to get fatigued. Yeah. But I never felt it before. Like back coming from Chicago, most of what I ate consisted of what my parents made, if I'm being honest. Like I had no say in it. But they made sure to feed me right. And so I would never take naps. I would be able to wake up 5 a.m. and go to sleep like around midnight, if anything. And I wouldn't feel the need to take a nap. Yeah. I feel like I was 10, you know, like in everything I did. And at the same time, my mental was right. And then I didn't have as much acne as I have now. And so I feel like something was wrong. And I'll be honest, I'm blaming food for it.
No, there's something in the food. Like, food actually is so important. Right. Because, well, if you think about the saying, like, you are what you eat, first of all, it's one.
Exactly.
Heard that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's also like the fuel for your body. Like, our bodies are literally like temples, right? Right. And like, it's like everything you reap. I'm quoting this wrong.
Everything you reap, you sow.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah. But it's like, think about like your body literally takes the nutrients from the food and then pretty much converts it into energy, and then also like your body. So for example, you eat protein, that goes into muscle. If you eat like carbs, you're gonna use that for energy, right? So it's like, watch out what you eat for, and excuse me. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to eat the best things for you?
Exactly. And so, like I said, coming into here, I have no say. Again, I have no say what I eat. But they give me options, which I feel like is the best part of it, because it comes down to the choice.
Exactly. Free choice. Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to see is I'm trying to analyze my options and eat just one option. So I'll be honest, my diet isn't like I calculate calories and this and that. But the one thing that I did learn was, so, okay, just to backtrack a little bit, I used to eat around 3 to 4 plates every meal, and I would eat 4 times, 3 times.
Bro, you know my rule now? Because I did the same thing my first year. I'm a junior now. Like, 1 plate at a time.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'd do? I'd grab 2 or 3 plates of all the good stuff. And then as I'm on the second plate, I still have the third plate on the table. I haven't finished yet. I'd be like, dang, I'm full. And I like to finish my plates, right? So I was like, crap, I can't just waste all this food.
Exactly.
So like taking it slow has helped me.
Right. But for me, I won't lie, I come from a family where we're heavy eaters, right? So my mom would actually, like, it's so funny to me because I feel like no one else does this.
Yeah.
But my mom, she would make a whole separate pot, a whole separate pan. Just
what are you eating? Like arroz con frijoles?
Arroz con frijoles is the biggest thing. Man, I still miss it to this day. For me, my dream come true is to go back home and eat another plate. Arroz and frijoles. I don't even need the tortillas, really. I just need arroz and frijoles.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that one, like, literally, even just arroz and frijoles every single day, I literally never complained. I never complained. That's so good to me. Like, I don't know, my mom's cooking or something. Man, that's just embedded in me at this point. But like I said, I was eating heavy when I came in here, like heavy. And my mom, the thing wasn't that I couldn't finish my food. The problem was that I finished my food, you know? Like, I would get like 3 to 4 plates and I finished all of them.
Some people have the option of having. Some people just can't. Some people don't eat.
Yeah, so my roommate was one of them. Yeah. So coming in, he actually didn't eat nothing. So I would tell him, because I was a little nervous. Like I said, I don't know no one here. So I'll be like, hey, bro, go with me to the dining hall. He'll be like, all right. And he'll only get like a little bowl of fruit. And I'll be like, bro.
Yeah, eat, bro.
Exactly, because you see me with like 3 or 4 plates, and you see my roommate right there with a little bowl.
And then it makes you feel off. It's like, wait, why aren't you eating? Is there something wrong with the food or something wrong with me?
Exactly.
And then I think that highlights how, like, everyone has a different journey.
Yeah,
and like, some people need to eat more, some people need to eat less.
Right.
And like, figure out, I guess, what you need to balance yourself. So bodies are constantly trying to find equilibrium. Exactly. Like, I guess we just try to find balance in our lives in general, right?
Right.
So figure out what you need, what works for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so what works for you?
So essentially what I ended up deciding on was we're going to cut all the food out. Like, not all of it, but like the heavy quantity. No. Okay. I was already doing that, honestly, with the barbering. I just stopped it. Like, I'm telling you, I had days where I would work.
Accidental fasting.
And I would accidentally fast. I wouldn't realize that I was hungry until I stopped, which was around 11:30 p.m. That was like the last spot.
Damn, okay.
And so with that, all the places are closed.
Dining house closed at 9.
Everything is closed. Like, I couldn't even order Uber Eats. Everything was closed, and I was just left to starve. And then the next day, I'd be like, man, I gotta work.
Yeah.
So I would fast again, and I would pay zero attention to my diet.
So you were booked Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, okay. And then it was up until the weekends when I got to enjoy my time a little bit. But yeah, Monday through Friday, simply because a lot of people were in college, you know, and one of the biggest habits is being able to go outside and enjoy your time, whether that be through partying or bars or stuff like that.
Do you be doing that on the weekends?
No, so I actually don't drink and I don't smoke.
Okay.
So there's no point for me to go to those type of places, you know? Yeah. And so I never went. Well, I did go. I won't lie. I did go. But
tried it out.
Business.
Okay.
Just business.
Business again.
Because I ended up working. So right before I left, I was working with frats. I was working with frats. So I would go to their house and I would cut the entire house for a certain price, depending on how many people went.
Yeah.
And so that would, like I said, in order to get to know them, I went to where they were all at.
You'd have to like network at the pivot.
Exactly. Yeah. So, for example, the bouncers or whatever you want to call them that were at the door, I would talk to them. And I'd be talking to them, and they'll be like, oh, man, that's cool. You could hear this and this and that. I'll be like, yeah, bro, if anything, shout me out to your team. And then if anything, put me on with your president, because I know he's the head, right? And so I go, and then actually I got quite a few friends to know me. Yeah, it was kind of weird, because now I could go to like any dining hall. That one time that we met, I had 3 people come up to me like right before you.
Like they knew, like
they knew me.
Like you made yourself like just a name around.
Exactly. And I feel like that was so cool. And like I said, most of it just comes from word of mouth, being able to network organically. I never paid for any of it, and so all the I went from zero, what do you call it, followers? I was gonna say some savage.
No followers.
0 followers up until like 250.
Nice.
Which I know is not big.
No,
but not knowing anyone, it's like it's a big improvement. And that
we got way less than that here right now, but we're looking to grow.
Of course. And like I said, that improvement kind of kept me going. Like being able to see, okay, 1 week I didn't get fully booked out, but then the next I was like, oh man, all these people are coming all of a sudden. And they would come in friend groups, and they'd be like, hey man, like, you know, if you got extra time, hit my boy up. He's looking for a cut. He got events going on. He's going back home, this and that. And so now I was getting booked out, and I think you mentioned earlier, like how much does that really look like? So I was fitting in. I think the max I did was around 25 clients a day, and so
that's a lot.
Yeah. So think of it. So there's most people take around an hour to cut hair. I take around 30 to 40 minutes.
Solid.
Exactly. And so yeah, if I were to take an hour for that, that would have been like what 25. I don't even have that many hours of the day. But even if you cut it in half, that's still a lot of hours. And so I would work the entire time. And so back then my prices were a lot lower, so there was a lot more higher demand. But it was still around $20 per haircut. And man, that's solid. You know, it was good days, I won't lie. But like I said,
for the math, is that like about 400?
That's around 400. Just a little quick math. It's about 400. And so just like generally speaking, I would make around $1,000 a week.
Solid.
And so every week I'd bring up $1,000, but I was never in it for the cash. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things. Most people saw me and they were like, man, you get so much money and this and this and that. But like I wasn't in it for that. I was in it for the experience. I was in it to test myself, to be able to say, you know what, I came in not knowing no one. And at the end of the day, I was able to cut. I think I calculated recently, I cut around 412 heads, I think.
Wow. And it's only been one semester.
It's only been one semester. That's the crazy part.
That's incredible that you've like done that. You're definitely living up to like the thing you said about doing your best.
Exactly. Like I take that to heart, like, in everything that I do. But it wasn't easy, man. It wasn't easy. And I feel like the biggest thing was school. I didn't fit school in there. And you're not
in it for the money.
Exactly. Like I said, materialistic things is not really my thing. Like if anything, that was a big bad habit of mine before I came here. Which was like I like to spend a lot. So
I'm like what, clothes, shoes?
So just like a material. So I think, damn, I'll be honest, like it was bad.
I mean, so, this is like we're here to be transparent, authentic. So I had a big collection of hats. Just fitted hats. A lot. I'm big on hats. Like this one I wear it proudly because of the logo in it. Is that
that's the eagle in the Mexican flag.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So I wear this one a lot. Mostly because I can't find good hats here. I have to order them. But
are the good hats in what, Chicago?
Yeah. I love my Chicago hats. I have a ton of them. I left them on back home.
The bean.
Exactly. I was big on shoes. So my first ever business was I started actually growing it at the age of 8, which is actually pretty young.
Before the event business.
Way before. Because the event business was 8th grade. Going into my freshman year of high school. The shoe reselling, I started at the age of 8. So like that's when I started studying it, and then I bought my first pair before I turned 9.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so I was young, guys. And that was exactly. So I kind of grew up with sneakers, and so growing up, one of my biggest waste of money was what I wore. So like jeans, I wore a lot of brand names. I wore a lot of colognes, just like even things you couldn't see. You know what I mean? It was just too much money, bro. And so I ended up cutting all of that out because coming into here, like I said, my thing is always challenging myself because how do you become better if you don't challenge yourself?
There you go.
And so my thing was I can't use any of the money that I generated over there. So I came in with zero.
Side note.
Yeah.
Wait, do you just keep that, like, save that money now, or like?
What?
Well, I was gonna say side note. I swear I saw this article online. Are you familiar with it?
Okay, which one?
It said you were worth like a ton of money.
Me?
Yeah, is it true? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
I swear I saw this article on the side too.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But you're worth like $500,000 or something.
Oh, no. I'm not with that. It's crazy, bro.
I saw this article, I swear.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
That's actually funny. I feel like you should keep that in. That's funny. No. I'm a freshman, guys. Come on now. Like, you can,
I don't, like, you never know though.
of course. Now, I'm not worth $500,000. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
one day, soon enough.
yeah, soon enough. But I feel like my mentality has always been grow, but never in money. Because I feel like when you focus on money, you kind of make money your God in a way. And I think all evil comes from money in a way. So I'm a little religious when it comes to it. So I like to make
Christian?
sure. Yeah, I'm Christian.
Cool.
So I like to put God before anything else.
Yeah.
And everything that I do. And so money doesn't fit there.
God and all things you got it too.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And so I don't worship money in any way. And one of the ways I do that or avoid to worship money is to not make it a goal, not make it a priority. And so one of my biggest sayings, and I know a lot of people that know me, like they say, they mock me a little bit. I said, money's on the floor. I forgot where I got that from, but I think it was my dad.
You're giving up money in a sense. Like what you're doing is not, like you're leaving money on the table. Is that what you're talking about?
A little bit, but not so much. It's more of the sense that, for example, if I come, like, I'll use myself as an example. When I came here, I came in with nothing, right? No money, no nothing, basically no opportunities is what I'm trying to say. Other than just my tools, my barbering tools, that's literally all I brought with me.
Yeah.
And the skill that I already had. And so the idea was that I can build something, right, that can generate me income and make it look easy. I made it look easy, you know what I mean? To the point where it's as easy as if money was on the floor and I was just picking it up. And so the idea with that is also the fact that even if I had money with me and I were to lose it all, money's on the floor, which basically says that the opportunity is there to pick it up, right? And so no matter how much I sacrifice in terms of money, I feel like it's always... it's a temporary sacrifice in the sense that I can get it back just as easy.
Yeah, like money's not going anywhere for real. Like, there's so much money in the world, actually.
Exactly. So I don't really worry about money. Like, you can see all these numbers and this and that, but I'm not with $500,000. Nowhere near. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's not my goal either. My goal is simply to be the best version of me. And I feel like that translates in everything I do. And I feel like success is something that you're not chasing, but it chases you in a way. It's almost like when God gives you the opportunity, you can either take it if you're prepared or not take it at all. Maybe not even see it.
And that's not like free will aspect too.
Exactly. And so you have to be prepared though. You have to be prepared. And so that comes with the idea that success is looking for someone, you know what I mean? But it's not necessarily like you don't have to chase it. It's not running away from you, right? It's something that you attract, right? Yeah. And so I got to be prepared. And how do you prepare is by being the best version of yourself, whatever that may be.
Yeah. And you talk about being the best version of yourself. You started a few businesses.
Yeah.
With the most recent one being the hair cutting barbershop. And you're a student.
Right.
But also an entrepreneur, have an entrepreneurial background, entrepreneurial mentality.
Exactly.
Do I talk about why you're at college in the first place?
Oh.
Like, okay, so wait. Yeah, because you're here, like, obviously for the diploma, right?
Of course.
To like show it can be done, like especially within your family. Be that role model, be that example. But why else are you here besides learn?
So I'll be honest, I didn't come here to learn. Like that was the last thing I wanted to do. Because if anything, the things that they teach me, like don't get me wrong, I don't know anything. So I humble myself in that area. I'm always open to the new ideas that are presented. Like for example, I took econ this semester, econ 202. I learned so much from it simply because I don't know everything. You know what I mean? And so when it came to going to university, my main goal wasn't necessarily to learn. My biggest goal was first of all to get the diploma, but then second of all, this idea that we kind of talked about before, which is this little metaphor that I came up with.
Is it the incubator?
The little incubator, right? And so the incubator, essentially the way I brought it up was my dad actually asked me that same question. Why do you want to go to college? Because like I said, coming into my senior year, I already had a pretty good amount of money. I didn't really need to go to college. I had a business going, multiple businesses, I won't lie. And so I didn't really need what college was going to offer, which is knowledge in order to get a job.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't want a job. So what's the point of coming into college?
It doesn't make sense.
And so the way I kind of looked at it was, and at the time, just for a little bit of context, my dad, he was buying a property here in Michigan, Bloomingdale, Michigan. And so it's a little farm, and he had some chickens with him, and he was trying to reproduce them. And one of the ways you do that is by making an incubator. Oh, well, buying an incubator, but he chose to make it. And so while he's making this incubator, his thing was, you know, I obviously did some research for him, and then he did some research, and then we put our minds together in order to make it work. And so while we were working on this project, that's when he asked me the question. He was like, why do you want to go to college? And so as we're working on this project, I'm a visual learner, so I kind of saw my way of thinking within the process of creating this incubator. Yeah. And so what I ended up doing was I compared the two in the sense that the incubator, like the physical aspect of it, it kind of looks like a college. It's the physical building, the college itself. And then the eggs that you put in there are kind of the students, right? Okay. In the sense that the students are like the eggs, right? And then you're developing them through, well, for us, it was the humidity, it was the sunlight. I'll be honest, I forgot the third one. But the idea is
sunlight. And what is it, like food, maybe?
No, there wasn't food because these are eggs.
Humidity, sunlight, temperature.
It was temperature. Okay. Yeah, so it was those being three. And so I saw
not food there.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I saw it as these three factors were kind of like the teachers, because these were the factors that determined the potential of the egg. So not a lot of the eggs, like for our first couple trials. Okay. For our first couple trials, our eggs actually didn't end up hatching as many as we, expected. We expected like at least 5 within our first trial. I think we only got like 2 or 3. And so, like I said, and this was out of a batch of like 18 or something. And so, like I said, these 3 factors would determine what are the quality and the quantity of the chicks. Because some of them that did hatch didn't hatch as strong and ended up dying in the future. And so, like I said, those I kind of saw it as the teachers, because your teachers determine how much you know, in a sense, how much you're exposed to, right? And obviously, exactly. Sometimes you have the liberty, like one's own will to learn. That's a good thing, but not a lot of people have that. That's why the teachers are there in place to guide you, like you said. And so I saw those as the factors. And then you have the eggs themselves, right? The students. And so the way I saw the students was you start as an egg, and then through this development, through the time within the incubator, you start to develop and you start to maximize your potential. And you begin to specialize in a specific thing, so that when you hatch, it makes you unique. And so the way I looked at it was, for example, some chicks, they hatched and they were black chicks, or some chicks hatched and their beaks were a little different. Some chicks hatched and they were a little bit bigger than others. So like they're all different things. Exactly. Some were spotted. Like they all vary in various aspects. And so that's what made them unique. But at the end of the day, once they all hatched, so we actually got to the point where we would hatch basically our entire batch that we would put in, which was around 28 eggs. To some point, we ended up putting a batch of 28, 30 eggs, 32 eggs. And so as we put these eggs in there, like basically all of them started hatching. So we ended up selling some of them. Yeah. And so this is kind of what I saw the eggs, or no, not necessarily the eggs.
Like the college.
Exactly, university. Like the output, right? Yeah. And so the output, I saw it as these eggs get to develop. And then once they hatch, people came up to them and they picked the ones that they wanted, whether it be because of their uniqueness or simply what they have to bring to the table, right? And so, for example, some would get them just because they're female in order to reproduce. Others would just get them because they looked cool. The other ones because, they were more aggressive. So if you're trying to fight, illegal, by the way, but if you're trying to fight chickens, so they all have their features. And so But I saw that as kind of like the students being picked by these investors, these big companies. And so they would use these chicks and hire them essentially. And so that's kind of how I saw it. And the idea with that was, well, where do I fit in? Yeah. Where do I put myself in this little metaphor? Right. Yeah. And so what I ended up coming up with was, I don't want to be a part of the college, in the sense that being a student meant that I had to get a job, and I didn't really want to get a job.
Still don't want a job, yeah.
Exactly. I still don't want a job. A little stubbornness, right? But I didn't want a job. And so that one was the main thing. I really didn't want to be a student. I didn't want to be a part of the process at the same time. Like, I didn't want to work within the college. I didn't want to be the factors that, you know, maximize the potential of the chicks. And at the same time, well, actually, the biggest thing that called my attention was the investor. Because I feel like that's kind of where my mindset goes a lot of the times. How do I use the people around me in order to perform better? And so when I saw this little vision that I had was, okay, I actually want to be an investor. So how do I get closer? Damn. So how do I get closer to this college environment in order to pick out these chicks with great potential?
Because like, if you're gonna invest in something, you wanna get to know it. You wanna know like what's good for them, what's bad for them,
right?
Who else they know, what they like, what they don't like.
Exactly.
You want to get to know them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be an investor. So I actually wanted to come in with already a company in mind and actually have people here help me develop it. But the idea with that was that I first didn't have enough income. Second of all, I didn't really have a solid company, like a big one. They were all.
Are you talking about like just any type of company, or like a specific company for investing? Because there's some companies that those are called like, it's not hedge fund, it's private equity. Where they just invest in other companies.
Exactly. So I didn't really have one in mind. That was the thing. I didn't come prepared. And so, like I said, I was pretty young when I came up with this whole idea. Yeah. And so that lack of preparedness led me to, you know, essentially decide
to execute on it at that time. But at the same time, you were young.
So. Exactly. So it was kind of like I was limited by my time.
How old are you right now?
So I'm 18 right now.
Yeah, see, you're still young, bro.
Exactly.
Come on.
I'm a little chick myself, I won't lie. But the idea was have the mindset of an investor, right? And so upon, you know, I was just pondering this idea. So how do I become the investor? And so what if you dressed up as a chick? Because when you dress up as a chick, you get closer to the chicks that are around you. Yeah. You get to see their development. And if anything, you get to pick them out before they even hatch. Yeah. Because you already know what's inside. Yeah. You already know how it's developing. Because my biggest thing when it comes to meeting people is seeing their mentality, seeing how much they're willing to grow. Yeah. And I feel like that's very impactful. And so when I meet people, for example, Tino, like honestly, the first
also has a podcast.
Yeah, that's true. But Tino, he's a really good friend of mine, and so his mentality was kind of like mine, and I like that. So we worked together in order to create something new, which is still in the works. Y'all gotta stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. There'll be an update.
Exactly, there'll be an update. But if anything, that was kind of the whole idea behind it. So I'm here as an investor, the mindset of an investor, but dressed up as a chick, dressed up as a student. Yeah. And so essentially what I'm trying to say is I'm here to give jobs, not have a job.
Not have a job.
Exactly.
But is that your job, giving jobs?
A little bit.
Go a little bit. Exactly. Philosophical on you.
If anything, it's more of a consequence of becoming the best version. Yeah. Because if I want the best version of me, I want to be able to, like I said, one of the things for me is family. Family to me, we're very close. And so helping the ones that need me, right? Yeah, but at the same time, that requires time. So you have to automize whatever you have, your source of income. Yeah. And part of that is I can't have a job because then I would have to work it.
But you want to build systems in place that can kind of, and that actually goes into that whole investment thing too. Because when you invest in something, I mean, yeah, you're like actively a part of it, but it's a lot different than operating.
Exactly.
For example, like a barbershop, right?
Right. And so,
like if you gave someone money to start a barbershop, that's very different than you're the one cutting hair.
Exactly.
Very different.
Very different. And so that's now you're starting to see it, right? Why I see it as a job. I remember I was talking with a good friend of mine, and he was like, bro, you basically have a business. You get to control how much you work, how much money you make. But I'm limited by the same time. Like if I stop.
What if you hired other students though under you for that?
That's good.
That's another way to scale.
But the thing with that was that I genuinely saw myself as the best barber. And call it cockiness or this and that, but that was my goal. If I'm gonna be a barber, I'm gonna be the best barber, and so that's how I saw myself.
So you're gonna be the best investor.
And so exactly. But looking at the other barbers, I felt like no one really had what I was looking for, because the idea was to actually buy a building by my sophomore year. I was gonna buy a building near here, and then instead of renting it out, and then rent it out to people who are barbers, start a barber shop. And if it was a complex or multiple buildings or multiple floors, then I would have, for example, the first floor is the barber shop, and the other two where they would live, right? And they could share.
Yo, would you own that?
Exactly.
That's so elite.
Exactly.
And they also bond too, because they're all like cutting hair. It's like right there. And then
it's a community.
You're a landlord and a business owner.
Exactly.
That's
you're saying again.
I didn't know you can do that. What the heck?
That's still a goal of mine. So don't steal my idea, guys. But that's still a goal.
It's all in the execution though. Like,
exactly.
Like people have ideas all the time.
And so how do you put this into practice? Like, how do you make it happen?
Yeah.
Well, you got to find the chicks that want to be barbers. You really do. Because if you get a barber, for example, we have barber school that's like right around the corner.
Yeah.
And that one actually, it's where you go in order to get a license. And so like freshly new barbers come
out. Do you have to have a license to be a barber?
To be a barber? Yes. To be a barber.
Do you have a license?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
But I won't lie, it's more of a permit. So I can't whip it out. Yeah. But if anything,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when you're under the wing of someone, right?
Okay.
It's kind of when
you have a mentor, or like someone like an instructor.
Exactly. Yeah. The only thing is my instructor isn't here, so that's like my only flaw, I guess.
Okay. No worries.
But the idea is, how do you find these people? And so I didn't necessarily pick MSU just because the barbery school is right there.
Yeah.
But I feel like it helped me out a lot. And so I got to meet a lot of actually I met a few shop owners because they hit me up. They're like, well, you trying to work?
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to, because like I said, I didn't want a job, and it looked more like a job. But if anything, I ended up denying those offers, but I got close with the owners and I got close with the workers. Yeah. And so that's kind of where my idea came from.
Okay.
I was like, I got to meet the right chicks.
There you go.
But yeah.
What that reminds me of a lot is there's this I'd call it an investment firm that I visited. So I'm part of the Entrepreneurship Association. We went to New York City, which is crazy. We met a bunch of businesses, but excuse me, a bunch of like investors, different things like that. And there's this investment group called Dorm Room Fund, and it's kind of in the name. They would just invest in college student founders. Right. Specifically, I think like technology businesses too.
Okay.
But what's really interesting is like, this is what I've heard. I don't know if this is true.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I know this is fact, because they literally hire students to be a part of their team.
Okay.
Because students know students best. They're literally doing what you, by the way, they're literally they literally are doing what you're talking about.
Right.
But it's really cool that you've had this mentality for this long, because a lot of people I feel like don't. But their whole philosophy is students know students best. So they hire like the best student investors to invest in other students.
Exactly.
Just because they know them.
That's a job.
It is. Well, it is. I can like plug you after this actually.
Yeah, we'll see what we can.
It's pretty cool. It's really competitive. I've seen a lot. Like you have people, like the people on there from Harvard, Yale, Stanford, like places in the UK. Yeah. But it's really cool what they do.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'm actually interested.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit afterwards.
That.
But yeah, that's kind of the idea that I have, is to be able to, like you said, like you're a student, so you would know students best. And actually, one of the things that I kind of got as a compliment being a barber here at MSU was you kind of know our style, because I grew up with it. You know what I mean? Like, everything that's trending, I know it because I see it firsthand.
Yeah.
For example, you're rocking a fade. A lot of kids rock fades nowadays. But for example, most of the barbers here didn't know how to do a burst fade. I don't know if you know what that is. There's a little fade around the ear, and most people didn't know how to do it. And I was one of the ones that actually did, because I
set you apart. That's unique.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I was able to differentiate myself from the other barbers in that simple aspect that I knew students because I was one. And so I feel like that's a good way to look at it. Right. So use what you have, including the students that are next to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. No, that was a bunch of like gems. There's so much in there. That's awesome.
Of course.
Maybe wrapping up here, we have like a few last questions.
All right.
I guess like, yeah, what would you tell your past self, if anything?
I won't lie, I don't believe in regret. So one of the things that I kind of preach is that I don't like to regret, in the sense that if I look back, I'm thankful for everything that I did, all my mistakes, everything that I should have done, but I didn't do. I'm grateful for those as well, simply because they brought me here where I am today. And I feel like if anything would have been just like the smallest thing would have been different, this whole future, this like what I am
like
today,
we might not be talking
would be very different.
Yeah.
And so that's why, if anything, if I go back, I wouldn't really say much. I would, if anything, just believe in God and trust the process.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like failures are necessary for growth at the end of the day.
Cool. I like that. And then we already touched on it earlier too, but like bring it back full circle. Like, what's next? So next semester, if you can share it, maybe don't share everything if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Next semester, not cutting hair anymore.
Right.
Little bit different mentality going towards that. Anything on the horizon?
Okay. So, like I said, my Instagram is called Real Lopez Project for a reason. It's not necessarily dedicated to, because I don't identify myself with the craft that I do. I identify myself with the person who can develop it, which is me, right? And so what does it really mean to be me?
Yeah.
And so that same Instagram page is going to incorporate a lot of my next project.
Okay.
Which I don't like to talk too much about it because I feel like it's kind of my thing. You know, keep it in silence.
Yeah, you don't need to say it
until it's too loud, right?
Can you say what industry? Can you give us a hint?
Entertainment.
Interesting.
Entertainment.
Cool. Okay.
I'll leave it at that. But it's like I said, everything takes time. Everything takes effort. But the same way you saw me dedicate my time to the barbering business, I'm gonna dedicate it into the entertainment.
That's
industry.
such a transferable like skill mentality too, because like if you executed that well with the barbering business, if I'm an investor, I'm gonna invest in you to execute well in whatever else you do.
Exactly. And so that's one of the things that I tell a lot of the partners that I'm working with right now. It's that, by the way, it's not a solo project, but
multiple people.
Yeah, multiple people.
Yeah.
So I'm using what I'm preaching. Like I said, I'm using the chicks essentially, and I'm giving them jobs, the opportunity to shine before they get trapped inside the little rat race. I think
9 to 5 corporate, whatever you want to call it, rat race.
Exactly. Yeah. And so,
which is not all bad, but
it really isn't. But like I said,
it depends on what you want and what your life's looking like.
Exactly. And so they have kind of the same mentality of they want to do their own thing. And so I'm kind of there as the investment myself. I'm there as the push. I'm there as the investment in money. I'm there in the investment of time. Like whatever I put myself
knowledge
into,
and stuff to a mentality.
Exactly. Whatever I put myself into, I'm gonna do it great. Right. And so I'm going into an industry that I never worked for before. I won't lie, I never worked at it before.
Yeah.
But I will say that the business from like the one that I was talking about a little bit from Chicago, that was definitely expanding. And so that one's gonna get a lot busier, man.
That's cool.
That.
Might have to do an update sometime later.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Cool. Last question. Really appreciate you being on today, by the way.
Of course. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
I appreciate being here, man. I feel like it's an
awesome,
opportunity.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So like theoretically, if you're on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
You can talk to the whole world, which you are on a podcast.
Listen, well, I am talking to the whole world. You gotta manifest it,
You
bro.
are.
Yes, sir.
What would you tell the world? What would you tell other people?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So kind of my advice, basically, to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, you have to have faith in whatever you do, right? And so, for example, for me, like I said, I was almost born into it with this mentality that I want to be different. Like I said, from a very young age, I want to differentiate myself from everyone else. But success looks different for other people, right? And so whatever you do, have faith in it, in the sense that don't be scared to fail. Trust the process a little bit.
So take the shot.
Exactly.
Ask them out. Do whatever.
Exactly. Whatever it is, just don't be scared to fail, because that's what you need at the end of the day, right?
Learn from your failures.
Exactly. I feel like I see it a lot, especially with a bunch of guys. Like once they get their heart broken a little bit, they start working on themselves.
The gym, start doing stuff. Yeah,
exactly. So you can see that's a prime example of a failure leading to a positive improvement, positive growth, and it's the way you take it. It's the way you take it, because you're bound to fail regardless of what you do. If you play it safe or if you play it risky, you're bound to fail. But it's the way you bounce back. It's your mentality when you have that setback of whether you're gonna stay down or you're gonna get up. But like I said, for
gotta
those
keep pushing,
aspiring to be something, have faith in what you do.
Yeah.
And so part of that really comes down to like I said, my biggest thing is being the best version of yourself. But I feel like that goes for everybody, right? And whatever you do, the success that you find will be a consequence of the person that you are. If you train yourself, and if you set standards for yourself, if you say, I want to be best at whatever it is that you want to be, I feel like if you have faith behind it, dedication, hard work, all those characteristics come together in order to be what you want to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anything, have faith.
Have faith.
Have faith, guys.
Let's end it with that.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of Lifestyle Diaries. Really appreciate you, bro.
Of course, man. Pleasure being here. If anything, like I said, projects coming in soon, and I definitely want to see my boy grow. So
yes, sir.
Hopefully we make a part 2, just a little recap on
we'll definitely make a part
how
2.
This thing is going, man. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to, if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Comment below anything else you guys want to see. If you're on Spotify, make sure to download. And I would appreciate a review too. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Yeah, peace out. See you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Oh my gosh.
That was a lot. I feel like I took a lot of time in it.
No, I liked it. Honestly, I don't even know. Let me check how long that was.
I do talk a lot. I say that much.
I don't even know how long it was. Check.
That was
I don't even 54 minutes.
I enjoy it. Really?
Sorry, it's random person.
No,
I can check.
Was it 54 minutes?
No, I think it was more though. I had to have been more.
It's 6:41.
Probably less.